The late 90s and early 2000s saw a rise in robotics, which was brought to the forefront by a TV show, which featured dramatic fights, technological innovation, and plenty of merchandise. Today we're going to take a look at one of the video games which maybe wasn't as popular as some of their others. This is Robot Wars Extreme Destruction, developed by Warthog Games for the Game Boy Advance and Climax Developments for the Xbox and PC. The publisher was part of BBC Multimedia under the game development label Games Lab. Released in 2002 as a sequel to Robot Wars Arenas of Destruction on consoles and Robot Wars Advanced Destruction on the Game Boy. There's various differences between the systems. Extreme Destruction plays very similar to its predecessors, but at a faster pace. You're controlling radio-controlled robots battling against other ones, with the simple aim of winning the battle. You can do this in multiple different ways, with mobilising your opponent or putting them into the pit being the most popular. In the Game Boy Advance version, the player must compete in various events to unlock new robots to play as. Every event has the option of choosing bronze, silver or gold, depending on the difficulty that you prefer, but only bronze is available from the start, so this adds replayability to get those gold medals. There's also several different types of event. Tournament mode, where you must simply try to win the tournament. Mayhem, where players must win a 4-way battle. Bash and Dash, which is effectively a 3-on-1 handicap match. The Gauntlet mode, where the player must perform tasks within a time limit, and there's plenty of mini games too. In this version, there's 17 playable real-life robots, of which the majority of them need to be unlocked. There's no original or made-to-be-real robots added to the lineup to increase the numbers. The TV Studio Arena in this version is the only version of Extreme Destruction to feature the Disc of Doom as an arena hazard. The differences in the PC and Xbox versions is that the main mode is called Competition Mode. This is where you must build or buy a robot and compete in the various tournaments, very similar to the game's predecessor, Robot Wars Arenas of Destruction. However, once all stages are completed, the player will take part in a final battle against various real-life robots that were seen in the main TV series. Again, this version of the game, there's 17 playable competitor robots, as they're called, including the likes of Chaos 2, Panic Attack, Razor and Tornado. But there's also 40 original robots, and you can build your own. This is an increase from Arenas of Destruction, with even more recognisable robots from the series being featured. Graphically, the PC and Xbox versions is an improvement over the previous title for the PS2. While Arenas of Destruction was based more around Series 4 of the UK show, Extreme Destruction is based more around Series 5 and Extreme Series 1. We know this from the arena layout, which sees all the usual hazards return, but the drop zone has been added along with the pit release button and refbot. Another thing about the arena is the crowd. This is what graphically lets the game down. They're only seated on the first 3 rows of seats, and their models look awful. They're repeated several times and are effectively 2D cardboard cutouts with oversized 3D heads. You only really notice them though at the start of a battle, during arena fly-throughs and robot introductions. Extreme Destruction is played at a much faster pace than Arenas of Destruction. House robots seem very aggressive at times and sometimes come out of their corner patrol zone on their own free will and don't return. If they do return, it's because they've been red carded by refbot, and they should stay there. A couple of seconds later though, and they'll be back on the attack again. This version of the Robot Wars game can be glitchy in places. Robots don't seem to have much pushing power and damage seems to be light. Also, if you go to a certain part of the arena wall, you'll go straight over it and out of the arena, instantly losing the match. Commentary is provided by Jonathan Pierce, and if you've played Arenas of Destruction, you'll know that a lot of the lines are recycled, but that's not the only thing. Background and arena ambience is also reused. There are a couple of quirks though. If you name a robot that you've built one of the prototype robot names from Arenas of Destruction, you'll unlock some hidden commentary lines that were supposed to be in that game. Also, if you call your robot one of the house robot names, you'll hear the house robot introductions when your robot is introduced. While there's no commentary in the Game Boy Advance version, Jonathan Pierce's voice can be heard at the start and end of a battle. On-screen graphics and the stat screens are updated from the previous game to match the style seen in the real series that the game is based on. And to be fair, they do animate on screen rather quickly and quite smoothly. In terms of reviews, Robot Wars Extreme Destruction was given a score of 76.67% for the Xbox version, according to video game aggregator GameRankings. Now that does seem a reasonable score, and a lot of the game's player base does say that the AI and the gameplay overall could be improved. Here's what I think. While I do agree with those statements, I would also say that graphically in places it is a visual improvement on Arenas of Destruction. If you're playing the PC and Xbox versions, the UK arena looks authentic to the one that was used at the time, and it does feel like an overall upgrade in that sense. However, the game does lack in its controls and pacing. It plays very fast compared to Arenas of Destruction, robot physics can be quite poor, glitches can happen, and robots can become a little bit uncontrollable and have unrealistic damage from lighter attacks. I would say that the Game Boy Advance version, even though it's on a handheld and has more pixelated sprites in comparison, is a marginally better experience than the PC and Xbox versions. It controls much better and you have more of the competitor robots to choose from at the start of the game. So that was Robot Wars Extreme Destruction. Did you play this? If you did, which version did you play? Let me know any thoughts that you might have in the comments below, and if you like looking back at older video games, like the video, feel free to share and subscribe to the channel, because each week we're going to take a look back at some that you may or may not remember.